Sorry for the long wait, guys. I was constipated. Anyways, I'm sure you're all aware of OG Battlefront 2's Galactic Conquest mode. Oh, you know, the one where the goal is to conquer the entire galaxy using credits to expand your arsenal, your fleet, and utilize different bonuses to make your adventure more varied and essentially easier. But however, I would like to try something a little bit different. I would like to see if I could beat a game of Galactic Conquest without spending as much as a single credit. Totally because I want to, not because the Trade Federation are being incredibly stingy with their credits. Bastards. Now this means I am under no circumstances allowed to buy any kind of unit variation or utilize any kind of bonus, and I'm certainly not able to build fleets over planets that I don't want to go back to. I've also made a brand spanking new account to strip me of all of my bonuses. The reason being, I feel like playing through this with health, defense, and damage bonuses would make it too easy and essentially turn the challenge into a redundant waste of time. And now, without further ado, our conquest begins on the swamps of Dagobah. No, not that one. Now, being a fresh new game, it was pretty evenly matched to boot. The CIS were only using super battle droids at this point and weren't using any bonuses, just like ourselves. Still, we had to watch those wrist rockets like explosive mosquitoes. Nonetheless, it was a pretty good starting point. Or well, at least it was until around 30 seconds later, the CIS were right back on Dagobah again, and this time they meant business. This time they had auto turrets defending their command posts and recruited assault droids, presumably to assault us with.
Man, no fucking shit.
Unfortunately, this resulted in our first defeat so early on, but they hadn't seen the last of us. Trust me, I asked every single one of them. Now next up was the sinkhole world of Utapau. For the most part, this battle was pretty evenly matched, with both sides clashing behind cover and taking pot shots. Towards the end, the CIS did make one final push to try and take us back, but by that point it was way too late and we just took the victory, and mark my words, they will not be getting this one back. As I feared, Naboo was attacked next. Now for those who are not in the know, Naboo as the Republic is a bit of a madness. Allow me to explain. See, the Republic control the central plaza, and all of the CIS's command posts point straight towards the plaza. So the end result is the central plaza getting absolutely clusterfucked beyond belief. However, we managed to hold them off until they finally exhausted themselves and, not so politely, escorted them out. It was also around this time I was starting to wonder how many credits I could actually acquire through this run.
Hell no, man. What the fuck?
Leave any and all predictions in the comments below. Next up was Camino. Now, this is a little bit cheeky, isn't it? This is the equivalent of someone showing up to your house and trying to throw you out of your own front door. Like, are they nuts? And balls. But honestly though, majority of this was spent throwing grenades at this bridge because they seem to like to come across it in huge clusters. They also tried to get in behind us towards the end, so I went to sort things out. A small group of clones also came to help out, which I appreciated very much. Love my clone troopers. Nonetheless, we successfully showed the droids the front door, continuing with a budget of absolutely nothing. Next up, we had the fiery industrial hellscape of Mustafar. Now, for this we had a cheeky little strategy. First, we rushed the bridge and attempted to trap the droids in their back command post. This did not happen, so most of the fight happened in the central control room. Nonetheless, they were evicted. Now let me tell you something. Coruscant was an absolute massacre. I captured up to the training room with no issues at all, and no younglings slain, and another group of clones stormed the library. This meant that the CIS were trapped outside and then they all poured into the main area. And then they got absolutely dismantled with little fight back. By far the biggest W of this whole run thus far. Now clearly not getting the hint from last time, the Seps attacked Camino again, but this time they brought snipers.
Piss.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a bit annoying getting sniped every now and then, but nothing we couldn't handle, so we just put them back in their place, that being just not in the fucking house. Now, I've been dreading this since the challenge began. Polis Massa was up next. Now, anyone who frequents this map or has even just played it once as the Republic just knows how absolutely trifling the command post setup is for this map. This is our frontline command post. We spawn here and we're attacked consistently from both here and here. So the only real way to succeed in this one is just straight up rush, which we did and succeeded for a while until my guy unfortunately suffered a lethal stroke.
Oh no, me!
hates that!
Eventually though, after one of the most fierce and clumsy scrums of the entire run, the stragglers scattered, so I met up with Tom and Harry. I was Dick.
Bruh.
And we hunted down the rest of the droids with no more or less than one reinforcement remaining. The stress on this one was insane, but we were still going strong with 0 credits spent throughout the entire run. Naboo was then attacked again. Seriously, take a shot every time either Naboo or Kamino are attacked. Actually, maybe don't do that. You might cease to exist. But this time they had self-repair units, or back to tanks if you want to be technical about it. And we were being pounded. But we flipped the tables on them. See, we captured the pool so that we had reinforcements going towards the plaza, making for a more even playing field. Until they took it, but listen. See, this resulted in the CIS getting straight up violated. See, what was happening is they were pretty much just surrounded and getting attacked on all fronts with little to defend themselves with. Think smarter, not harder, guys. Coruscant was attacked again, and this time they brought engineers. Now, getting one-tapped at close range does suck, don't get me wrong, but then again, we still kind of trapped them in the middle again. Not much trouble, somewhat easy. It was also at this point we'd already accumulated 10,000 credits. That is insane. Once again, the CIS make another attempt on Kamino. And it's pretty much exactly like, whoa. Whoa.
The fuck is that?
Yep, the cheeky rapscallions brought droidicas, and from here on out, this challenge turns into a little bit of a nightmare at bits. But not here because, like the weird uncle that no one ever invites over but shows up anyways, we kick them out of our host once again and let them know they're not welcome. It is nice to see that the Seps are utilising their credits well, and we're still locked out of our bank account. Next up, we go to conquer my Gito because they took it and I want it back. Due to the wide playing fields between the command posts, the droidicas posed a bit of a pain up the arse. We weren't able to push through too much, and as a result, we got absolutely obliterated. However, we did not accept defeat. We came back with a vengeance, only this time we came round the back where they were slightly more exposed. This way we could attack on 2 fronts, which made it a lot easier to penetrate their defences, ending with us getting my Gito back, still with 0 credits spent. Next up, we had to defend Naboo again, and this one was a tough one. Despite our constant command post monopoly and trapping them inside the plaza often just like last time, it was pretty neck and neck, and we just barely came out on top. It was at this point the droidicas were seriously starting to France me off. Now I'll be honest, Yavin 4 was a bit of a disaster. I attempted to take their back command post and push from behind, no homo, but by that point, back at the scrum zone, we were getting molested. Very humbling, if not infuriating endeavour, but we would be back. Next up, Mustafar is attacked, and the same theory of strategy, being that it didn't work as last time, worked pretty well, even against the enhanced CIS forces. If I had a nickel for every time we had a battle on Mustafar, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that we only had to come here twice. Finally, we engaged the enemy fleet. It was mostly an internal mission, totally not because I didn't configure my controller properly for space combat. Ugh. But we blow the guts out of the CIS ship to hell like a Taco Bell, taco, and then give the pilots a taste of their own medicine, destroying the enemy fleet. Kashyyyk was up next, and I knew from experience that the Republic by default are at a disadvantage on this map, more so with the given circumstances, so I had to try something a little bit different. So I stormed their back command post by myself and spent most of the game holding the CIS forces off from there, albeit with some use of a tank. This was enough to keep them in an awkward and tight enough position to kick their asses quite thoroughly, clean sweep victory and all. But come to think of it, having all of this money and not being able to spend it is starting to feel like some kind of weird money laundering scheme. Kamino is attacked once again, starting to sound like a broken fucking record at this point, but with some aggressive flanking. Kamino is saved again. Seriously though, get the fuck out of my house. Oh man, let me tell you, this was a tough one. For real, needed some Vaseline for the utter pounding I received on this one. So Naboo was hold on, wait a second. So Naboo was attacked again, standard stuff, and I went over to the pool to take the command post and trap them in the plaza just as previously. But we got walloped on the way there, we lost the plaza, and got absolutely ruined trying to get it back. Even tried getting on the back of one of those stab things, but by then it was too late. Got blew right the fuck off the back of the damn thing, and we lost Naboo. Gee willikers, you might as well take all of our money too. You know, times are tough when the idea of getting robbed isn't all that bad. Felucia was a complete nothing burger and nothing out of the ordinary really happened. Just a standard 3-on-3 command post scrum for the most part. Bit of a narrow victory, but I don't know, the plants were cool. Fucking big ass flowers and shit. CIS treehouse party though. Now I return to Yavin. CIS had brought back the tanks. This time I tried a more straightforward approach. Instead of aiming for the back, I tried to aim from the front. Now logically, this would have brought a completely different outcome, being a completely different approach. I was wrong. We were whooped just as brutally as last time. Shit. Alright, so next up again is Camino. This time, the CIS brought a reinforced garrison. And on top of that, we did not really have the best start to this mission. And in short, they kicked our ass. Well, shit. This is like someone breaking into your house, taking it over, and then blowing it the fuck up. Because we can't fight here anymore. I sure hope you guys are happy because I hope someone came away from here smiling. Honestly, at this point, I was seriously considering calling this a day and never returning to this challenge or channel ever again. Because by this point, I was miffed. And it takes a lot for a lad to be miffed. But we attack Yavin again and we kicked its ass. By a decent number as well. Essentially, we focused on keeping Command Post 3 under control as much as possible, and attacking and keeping constant pressure on Command Post 4. I mean, we sure take those, especially after our home planet being blown to fuck knows where we do. The Seps attack Coruscant again, this time with Bacta tanks or self-repair units, whatever you want. They sure love their Bacta and garrisons. Speaking of garrisons, I'll say though, I managed to go sicko mode and wipe out a small garrison in the training room. It was a relatively close fight, John Wick mode aside, but a win is a win at the end of the day, so onward. Again, we clashed with the enemy fleet, and it was pretty similar to last time. Yeah, a little bit of external, a little bit of internal, some cybernetic homicide, baddie ship go boom. Next. Also, by this point, we've accumulated 21,000 credits. That's fucking insane. Now, this shit was close. This was straight chaos. So on Utapar again, on the defensive, the CIS bring a garrison. This is going to become a trend. So right off the bat, I'm like, oh shit. Most of the battle, I'm like, oh shit. But like a cheap circumcision, we pulled it off. Due to a constant self-imposed pressure to maintain as many down command posts as humanly possible, a win is a win. Still going strong with still 0 credits spent. Next, we had to conquer Tatooine. Now, when I say we straight up hammered, nailed, and drilled the CIS forces, I'm saying they brought a garrison. We cornered them in the Colosseum, and we obliterated them like no one's business. And won with something ridiculous like 50 troops left. Like, we ended with a small garrison left. Like, without competition, this right here is the campaign's finest hour. Next up, we had Geonosis, which was rather average. First, we captured the cliff bunker and attacked their back command post, and we were in a good position for the most part. However, finding those last 2 droids and having to fight off an army of Geonosians and trying to keep the last of our clones alive, yeesh. Also, I didn't get that part because my record time maxed out and I was way too locked into pause. Nah, I'm just a dumbass. Sorry about that, guys. Next up was another Kashyyyk defense mission. This is more or less exactly the same as every other Kashyyyk defense, so I won't dwell here too long. In short, they got whooped and we won by something insane like 60 reinforcements. Totally not because of tank spam though. Now I'm gonna be completely thorough. This last stretch was a nightmare. So next up, we had to recapture Naboo. Now this kinda hurt. The CIS bring a garrison. At first, it actually looked like we were gonna win. We had the pool and the plaza, and I don't even know what happened, but we lost both and got stuck with about 2 command posts for the whole battle. And despite our best efforts, we couldn't switch it around, and we got absolutely chewed up and shat out. Separatists, why do you keep destroying and taking our planets? This time, they'll pay. but we won't because that would kind of void the challenge. Again, we had to defend Coruscant, and like, yeah, spoiler, it was a victory, but no real progress, more like halting degress? I don't know. Hold on. What the fuck happened to him? But again, a win is a win. You know, with all the credits we saved up so far, we could probably just buy the Separatists off and just pay them to leave us alone. So next up, we had another space battle. They got droid marines. Yeah, you already know, nothing happened here at all. They exploded though. Next. So next up, we attack Dagobah again, and the CIS take back the tanks. Now, I have no idea what the fuck they're putting in that Bacta shit, but the ass-kicking we endured at the hands of these space degenerates was of a sizable proportion at the least. Seriously, that LAC gunship crash site turned into a mass grave by the time all was said and done. However, we would be back. Dude for real nearly had his dick blown off though. Bell end saved by the bell. We had another space battle, right? Pretty standard stuff. But the CIS did decide to go and sabotage our vehicles. Bit fucking rude, being it's our only method of anything really. So unfortunately I had to spend all of about 5 seconds fusion cutting my starship, and nothing really out of the ordinary other than that. This is an effective method for destroying gunships, by the way. So next we attack Dagobah again, and there is no way we can lose 2 times in a row. Oh, for fuck's sake. However, I was doubtful about Utapau and Tatooine, and they were both against extra garrisons, with Tatooine being one of our proudest victories in the whole campaign. I went in aiming for victory and yeah, I missed, so at this point I straight up wanted the challenge just to finish and to not fucking see this game ever again. Regardless, we push on with still 0 credits spent. So next up we had to defend Kashyyyk again, and I'm not even gonna lie, I straight up hopped it in a tank and just blew them to shit. And you know what, I enjoyed it too. I liked it. I have no shame. So next up was Dagobah again. Now surely we cannot lose 3 times in a row. They brought a garrison again, but I had an idea. What if we held the line right at their back command post and just waited with a small group of clones and just shot the motherfuckers before they could capture any command posts? And I'll be fucked with the shovel sideways. It worked. Dagobah was ours again. Holy shit, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. This felt great. I felt like Gideon after catching EDP. I was on the fucking moon, dude. But fuck the moon, right? The only planet I want to colonize here is Naboo. But first, CIS wanted to try and take Utapau again.
But that's not gonna happen.
In short, we fought like hell. There was no way the Seps were getting this back. I marked my words earlier. This war was ours for the taking, and we weren't gonna stop at anything. So in short, we ripped clean through them, wrist rockets, droidicas and all, and we made them wish they were never born. Assembled. Next up, Naboo, the final battle. This is what it had all been leading up to. It was a fierce battle. Competition for command posts was aggressive. Wrist rockets and thermal detonators flew everywhere. Feed was a shooting range. We fought like hell. We maintained the plaza and the pool intermittently, constantly keeping pressure on the Seps at all times, and way before us, they were exhausted. And after hunting down the last of the droids and taking the last command post, it was finally over. And with that, our Galactic Conquest was complete. And with a whopping 30,510 credits. Holy shit. So, can you beat Galactic Conquest without spending any credits? Absolutely. And from experience, with an easier time than this. Seriously, this was fucked at certain points. Also, for anyone who's still around over a year later, it's sure good to be back, along with a decent editing tool in my laptop. Alas, what would you guys like to see from the channel in the future? Please leave a comment, and if you're new here and love Battlefront 2 as much as I do, why not drop a like and a subscribe? Cheers guys, take care, and stay awesome.